Somewhere in your brain right now, there might be a memory of the day you learned to walk. The exact moment your mother's face looked at you for the first time. Your first birthday. The sound of your own name, said by someone who loved you, before you even understood what a name was. And you will never, ever get to see any of it. Not because those moments didn't happen. Not because your brain was too undeveloped to notice them. New research suggests something much stranger. Your brain might have recorded all of it, and then made a decision, deliberately, systematically, to lock you out. Let's start with the basic mystery, because it's stranger than it sounds. You learned an enormous amount in your first 3 years of life. You learned to recognize faces. You learned to understand language before you could even speak it. You learned to walk, to grab objects, to laugh at things that were funny. You formed your first attachments to the people who loved you, attachments that shaped your entire personality. And yet, if you try right now to remember any specific moment from before age 3, you almost certainly can't. This isn't just forgetting like normal forgetting. This is total, universal. It happens to virtually every human being who has ever lived. Psychologists named it over 100 years ago, infantile amnesia. And for most of that century, the explanation seemed simple. The theory went like this. The hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for forming long-term memories, simply isn't finished developing in infancy. It's like trying to save a file on a hard drive that hasn't been installed yet. The information passes through, but there's nowhere for it to actually land. No hardware, no memory, case closed. Except, as of the last 2 years, that explanation just fell apart. In 2025, a team of researchers at Yale did something that sounds almost impossible. They put babies inside an MRI machine, awake, and got it to work. If you've ever tried to get an infant to hold still for even 10 seconds, you understand how difficult this actually is. It took the team over a decade of refining their method using pacifiers, blankets, stuffed animals, and a lot of patience before they could reliably scan a baby's brain while it was awake and paying attention. Here's what they did. 26 infants, ranging from 4 months to about 2 years old, were shown a series of images, faces, objects, scenes. Then, a short time later, they were shown those same images again, paired with brand new ones. Babies can't tell you what they remember, but they can show you. Infants reliably stare longer at things they recognize than at things they've never seen before. It's one of the oldest tricks in developmental psychology, and it worked. While the babies looked at these images, the researchers were watching something else entirely. Activity in the hippocampus, in real time, while the memory was actually being formed. And the results were completely unexpected. When a baby's hippocampus lit up more strongly while viewing an image the first time, that baby was significantly more likely to recognize that same image later. The hippocampus wasn't sitting there doing nothing. It was encoding memories, actively, successfully, starting around 1 year of age, years earlier than anyone had confidently demonstrated before. So if the hippocampus is working, if the memories are actually being recorded, then infantile amnesia isn't a storage problem, which means the real question isn't why babies can't form memories, it's why adults can't retrieve them. This is a completely different problem, and it points toward a much stranger explanation. One leading idea involves something called neurogenesis, the birth of brand new neurons. Here's the thing about the infant brain that makes it so different from yours right now. In the hippocampus specifically, new neurons are being produced at an extraordinarily high rate during the first years of life, far higher than at any other point in your entire lifetime. And it turns out this explosive neuron growth might come at a cost. Researchers studying this in animal models found something remarkable. When they artificially slowed down neurogenesis in young mice, essentially giving them an adult-like, more stable rate of new neuron production, those young mice kept their early memories far longer than normal. And when they did the reverse, artificially speeding up neurogenesis in older adult mice, those adult mice started forgetting things they should have easily remembered. The theory goes like this. Every time a new neuron gets wired into the hippocampal circuit, it doesn't just add capacity, it can also disrupt the existing connections, the ones holding your older memories in place. Imagine constantly renovating a library while somebody is still trying to read the books inside it. The shelves keep moving, the catalog keeps changing. Eventually, you can't find anything you filed away before the renovation started. Babies are undergoing this renovation constantly, explosively, which may be exactly why nothing filed away that early manages to stay findable. Now here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you a little. If your earliest memories were being deleted, that would be one story. Sad maybe, but at least simple. The information is gone. There's nothing left to find. But the Yale researchers and a growing number of scientists studying this increasingly suspect that's not what's happening at all. They think the memories might still be there, just locked, inaccessible, filed away somewhere you can no longer reach. There's supporting evidence for this from an entirely different angle. Google studies on the biology of forgetting, specifically in mice. Researchers have found that they can take a memory that appears completely forgotten and, using precise techniques to stimulate the exact cluster of neurons where that memory was originally stored, bring it flooding back. The mouse behaves exactly as if it remembers instantly, even though moments before it showed zero sign of that memory existing. The memory wasn't destroyed, the path to it was. The lead researcher on the Yale study put it almost exactly this way. Infantile amnesia increasingly looks less like a storage failure and more like a retrieval problem. The engram, the physical trace of the memory, might still be sitting there in your brain right now. You simply may have lost the key that unlocks it. There's actually early evidence pointing toward when that key might finally break for good. In ongoing research, scientists are testing something remarkable, showing children and toddlers home videos filmed from their own point of view, from when they were much younger babies. Early results suggest something strange. These younger children can sometimes still recognize themselves in that footage, a lingering thread of connection, right up until roughly preschool age. And then, for almost everyone, that thread finally snaps for good. So here's the deeper question. If your brain is capable of remembering and appears to be actively encoding memories in infancy, why would evolution build a system that then systematically locks all of it away? The honest answer is nobody has fully solved this yet, but there's a compelling working theory. Your first years of life are a period of insane, unprecedented learning. You're not just accumulating facts, you're building the fundamental architecture of how your brain processes the entire world. Language, spatial reasoning, facial recognition, basic physics, emotional regulation. This is a period that requires maximum flexibility, maximum construction, the brain equivalent of a city undergoing constant demolition and rebuilding, laying down its core infrastructure as fast as biologically possible. Stable, permanent, easily retrievable long-term memories may simply be in direct tension with that kind of extreme flexibility. You cannot simultaneously be maximally rigid, holding memories in fixed, permanent, easily accessible form, and maximally plastic, rapidly rewiring your fundamental circuitry to make sense of an entirely new world. Something has to give. And it appears evolution decided that early memory retrieval was the thing worth sacrificing, in exchange for a brain that could build itself as fast and as flexibly as possible during the years it mattered most. You didn't lose your first 3 years because your brain failed to notice them. You may have lost access to them precisely because your brain was working exactly as hard as it possibly could. So, why does your brain delete the first 3 years of your life? The honest, current answer is, it might not actually delete anything at all. It might encode those years in real detail using a hippocampus that's already switched on and working far earlier than anyone believed. And then, in the explosive rush of building itself, wiring new neuron after new neuron into place faster than at any other point in your life, it may simply lose the thread back to where those memories are filed. Not gone, not deleted, just behind a door that closed sometime around your 3rd birthday, with no handle on your side. Somewhere in there is the first time someone said your name, the first time you recognized your own reflection, the first time you understood, in whatever wordless way an infant understands anything, that you were loved. You were there for every second of it. You just can't get back in.